What is more quintessential Warcraft than pirates? It feels like such a long time since we had a story that involved the infamous pirates from the oceans of Azeroth. But in a few short weeks, with the arrival of patch 10.7, we will have just that. Mentioned in the wedding story at the release of Dragonblight, the Irontide pirates have made a return, and have an overwhelming interest in Neltharion's vaults on the Forbidden Reach. But who is leading them now? Could they be part of a bigger mystery? Let's look together and find out. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and come, take a seat by the fire. While there are many factions who fly the pirate colours in Warcraft, from the infamous South Sun to the North Sea freebooters, the ones we are most interested in today are the Irontide Raiders. Let's have a look at what we know about their history. This surly band of louts began with members of Blim Fairweather's old crew, formerly led by his dangerous first mate Harlan Sweet. Based out of Freehold in Tiragard Sound, they have long since fronted the business under the name Sweet Enterprises, trying to pass themselves off as a legitimate business. But Blim would not recognise the company today. Harlan only took the most vile and nasty members into the Irontide. After it was founded, Harlan went around Freehold and asserted dominance, forcing the smaller crews to pledge loyalty, and solidifying it into a place of power for himself. Harlan then found himself embroiled in deals with Lady Ashbane. Although her bad luck on choosing the winning side appears to be catching. While he did fill the coffers of the Irontide when he pillaged Drustvar, he was eventually put down by a group of adventurers in the Freehold dungeon. A fitting end for a character that only valued themselves, but that appeared to be the end of the Irontide. Their fate until now has been left to pure guesswork. Most believed they would pass into obscurity once a new gang claimed the territory. However, it appears we missed much during our time in the Shadowlands. The pirate problem did not abate with the death of the Irontide leadership. It appears it has only gotten worse, much worse, with much of Lady Jaine Proudmoore's time, along with Matthias Shaw's, being spent dealing with this criminal underbelly throughout Kul Tiras. This can only mean one thing, that someone unknown has claimed the mantle of leadership. It appears as if this time someone with a little more brains is calling the shots, in part due to the very secretive smuggling operation that appears to be taking place under everyone's noses, right here on the Dragon Isles. This brings us nicely to the present. Well, almost. Before we can look at the new happenings within the patch, it is best to look at what pirate activity has been going on in the Dragon Isles, the one we just mentioned that's been happening during our current adventures. For the best evidence for this, look to the far southeast of the Azure Span, not on the mainland itself, but actually to the small islands that do not appear on the main map. It is here that we can see quite clearly the smuggling activity taking place. Some of these islands have caves, and within these caves are makeshift homes and docks. Tables and signs of life can be found littered all around. Among some of the evidence is a suspicious amount of crates, as well as littered with papers with escape routes and dragon eggs drawn upon them. It is these things, along with the obvious amount of shipwrecks that failed the journey here, from any number of pirate interests that show this. The one connection we could never make was where these pirates were now. We found their ships that had dashed upon the rocks, spilling their treasure beneath the waves, but no sign of them now. So at last, this brings us to the findings from the PTR in 10.0.7. And just off the western coast of the Forbidden Reach, we find a huge fleet of Irontide pirate ships. On board are all manner of creatures that we find within their gang, from hobgoblins to ettins. Following hot on their trail leads us to shore, And there it is, sure enough, they are hustling as many of the prized artifacts from Neltharion's vaults as they can carry, funneling them into Tuskar kayaks, no doubt taken from their previous owners by force. But the biggest mystery of all is why here? Why now? While the treasure of an age-old dragon vault is of course lucrative, there has to be safer targets. Perhaps they have simply grown bold enough to believe they can strike wherever they like, without impunity. Or perhaps there is a bigger mystery here. Does the now leader of the Irontide want something desperately from Neltharion's vault? There is one clue I would like to remind everyone of, one perhaps you may have forgotten. It was actually in Shadowlands, the last time we saw pirates, at the end of the Tazavesh dungeon, when we meet Time Captain Hook and Tail. The Infinite Blight posing as pirates was pretty bizarre, but it seems a lot more relevant now. Could it be perhaps the Infinite Blight has found the anonymity afforded to them among the ranks advantageous to their plans? The handing over of petty coin to the sailors' pockets, an insignificant price to pay. But they have a veritable standing army with the size of the fleet they appear to have. One that has no conscience, filled to the brim with the worst criminals who will do anything for coin. Could it be they are searching the vault for something in particular then? There is also one last worthy mention, and that is of Magatha Grimtotem. While she does not have a history with pirates, she embodies all the qualities they value. She is ruthless and cruel, and would do anything to get what she wants. To corroborate this, we know there is a lot of story involving Bane in the upcoming patch, along with some Taurens returning from all the way back in Warcraft 3. If Magatha has really gotten involved with the Irontide, this would make sense, how it would all tie together. While there are still a lot of clues to discover, to make any concrete claims, the list of possibilities is vast. The elemental connection that Neltharion himself was so obsessed with is our best prediction. This connection could be what the Infinite is searching for, to change Nosdormu toward his inevitable fate. Or perhaps Magatha wants another elemental orb, to pursue her dark goals after she got refused from the last one. Either way, it's amazing to get back to the roots of Azeroth once more, and kicking some pirate booty sounds like it could be a blast. It will only be a short while until we get to search for the new leader for ourselves when this hits the live servers. Hope everyone is as excited as we are. Oh, and don't forget to come back anytime.